So I'm a bit of a glutton. I genuinely find enjoyment in perusing various different MMO related subreddits, even though the vast majority of them are cesspools of drama like this. Now, as for the topic on hand, yes, it is true. Bless, or more specifically, Neowiz, have done what nobody ever thought possible. Not only did they kill Bless Online, not only did they kill Bless Mobile, but they have somehow also killed Bless Unleashed on every platform. Or at the very least, they have gotten very, very close to it on PC. But if you don't count 10% of the active player base remaining as dead, then, well, I guess honestly give it another, month or two, then it might better fit your definition of a dead game. Now, contrary to popular belief, I do not hate Bless Unleashed. Rather, I think Bless Unleashed is actually a pretty decent game. I did a video on it after 20 hours spent streaming it, and I genuinely had some fun. With no snarkiness or sarcasm, I can say that I had some fun in Bless Unleashed. Yet there are people out there that think that I have been actively trying to kill the game for as long as it has been around. And that's just not true. I verbally express my thoughts aloud on a platform like YouTube. Yeah, I have talked about experiences that I have had with both the developers and the game, but I always stress that players should try a game out for themselves. They, you in specific, should never trust the opinion of a single creator, a single influencer, or even a single person. Just because I dislike something or certain aspects of something does not mean that you will. It doesn't mean that other people will. This is, after all, why they call it a subjective personal preference. Although I am going to go ahead here and give them credit. Bless Online took a nosedive from 35,000 concurrent players when it launched to a mere 10,000 concurrent players within its first month online. I don't think I've seen an MMO lose that many players over the course of a several week period. Bless Unleashed in that very same time frame dropped from 76,000 concurrent players down to 46,000 concurrent players. That is significantly better player retention long term. The decline was noticeably larger with Bless Online because, and let's be honest here, Bless Unleashed, as I noted, isn't actually a bad game. It's not a great game, but it's far from being a bad game. Bless Online, on the other hand, man, that was some hot garbage. And take it from a player that played every single incarnation of Bless Online. I played the original Korean version, I played the Russian version that was shut down by the Russian publisher due to them, and I quote here, wanting to deliver a quality product and experience to their users, to their players, and ultimately Bless Online being the exact opposite of what they wanted to deliver. This resulted in Neowiz overhauling Bless Online for the Japanese market, and well, that really didn't go over too well. What we got though was riddled with gold duplication, with crashes, poor optimization, and absolute incompetence from the developers. Nevertheless, as of today, there was a peak of approximately 6,000 concurrent players logging into the PC version of Bless Unleashed. This is disregarding the console version. In a mere 4 months, Bless Unleashed has lost over 90% of its players, which, if we look at its competition, Swords of Legends Online, PSO2 New Genesis, Allion, actually, you know what, seems roughly about accurate. All of the above MMOs have declined to a point where most players would consider them dead games, averaging at peak a couple thousand concurrent players. Bless Unleashed's decline is not specifically because it is a bad game. Once again, if it was, every other MMO launched this year would be doing better, when the reality is that Bless still has higher numbers than any release disregarding New World. Rather, all of these MMOs have just been in a rapid state of decline due to how poorly they were handled, how little content there was present within their respective games, and how player expectation was much greater than the product we received. Regardless, this was a long time coming. Other than die-hard fans of the game, I really don't think anyone realistically saw Bless Unleashed lasting longer than a few months. Now, that isn't to say that Bless Unleashed didn't do some things right. Participating in the large-scale open-world boss fights were something else. Seeing 40, 50 other players all engaging the boss, all experiencing mechanics for the very first time, all repeatedly dying and scurrying to revive one another was actually kinda epic. I'll admit, I did die repeatedly against some of them, and I'm not ashamed to say that I had absolutely no idea what I was doing at literally any point in any fight. Just mass amounts of untelegraphed attacks, damage that was large enough to one-shot me every hit, and well, death came, and it came swiftly. The community seemed to understand that you needed every bit of DPS possible if you wanted to down the boss in a reasonable amount of time though. As every time a player would die, you'd see multiple different people run over in an attempt to bring them back into the fight, and okay, well, when I said that Bless Unleashed did some things right, yeah, that was about everything I meant. Everything else about the game seemed incredibly generic, basic, uninspired. The world was empty with the exception of mass groups of monsters. The classes felt at times very clunky, and the combat just didn't stand up to its competition. Even the leveling was kind of boring, although I am going to stop myself there real briefly just to state that this is not something that is specific to Bless Unleashed only. It's the same for every other MMO that I've discussed here today, along with multiple of the issues I just stated. Now, nothing about Bless Unleashed in specific stood out though to me personally, and if you cannot grip players, especially after 20 hours spent in-game, then you cannot expect them to stick around long-term. The successful MMORPG grabs your attention and holds your attention. If it doesn't, you're going to grow bored and move on. Player retention is everything. The same applies to non-MMOs, to movies, to TV series, even YouTube videos. Do you want to continue watching a video when you're bored 30 seconds into it? No, of course you don't. You don't want to continue a TV series if the first episode puts you to sleep, and likewise, you don't want to play an MMO that is a chore to level in, a chore to play. Bless Unleashed has hit a point in its life where it is just about dead, clinging on to life and the thousands of players that are still logging in to play it, to spend money in it, and I guarantee you that Neowiz is already considering where they want to take the Bless intellectual property from here. They milked millions from players by launching Bless Online as a premium title, then they milked millions more after converting to a free business model. They made a fortune from Bless Mobile before abruptly shutting it down due to poor performance. They gave publishing rights to Bandai Namco for Bless Unleashed on console. Then they proceeded to take Bless Unleashed and publish it on PC, milking millions more. Where will they go from here though? Either they'll sell publishing rights to a new Chinese developed Bless mobile game, they'll make some type of Bless classic incarnation of the game, or they'll consider a new Bless PC title like Bless Unleashed again.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it. Yeah, all hard work's gonna be worth it. Ooh,